Well, hello there, it's Keith here, and today we're going to be playing the game Yumemiyakata Monogatari, which, I can't remember the Western name for it. Anyway, it's an adventure game on the Sega Mega CD, and it's 3D rendered, and it's a sort of first-person adventure game that uses video, and personally I think it's the best display of the video capabilities of the Mega CD, because when I got the Mega CD I didn't think the hardware was capable of this quality of video and things, so I thought it'd be a bit of fun to play through, and because the game is pretty short we should be able to win it. I've completed it twice on an emulator, so I'm hoping I can complete it today. Full disclosure, I'm playing with a walkthrough, so as long as I read and I don't do anything incredibly stupid, we should be able to win it, and we'll be able to see this very nice little game on the Mega CD. Okay, well, let's go over to the system and let's check it out. Well, hello there. So let's just close the lid here and let's get the game started, and let's pray the hardware doesn't fail before the video stream ends, because it is about 30 years old. I just worry a bit about how long these machines are going to last, but it seems to still work okay. I did give it a test yesterday just to make sure the CD drive worked and the disc I'd bought, because of course we're playing real games here, not emulators or anything. The other thing though, before we start with that, I need to tell you is my book is now available on Amazon. This, to be honest, this is a test version. This is the same size as the real book, but it's not the book. The reason for that is I haven't got the book yet, because it literally went online today. So I ordered 2 copies for myself this morning, and as soon as they turn up I will be doing a video on the main channel showing off the content and discussing it a bit more. But it is available now, so I'd only be doing my own advertising justice if I mention it. So there you go. Anyway, let's listen to the game music here. Turn the volume up a little. Okay, so obviously it's all in Japanese, but the plot's pretty simple. You've got these 2 kids who you never see, and there's a sort of brother and a sister, and the younger sister has run away into the house and apparently is going to turn into a butterfly, because that's a thing that happens. You see there's like a butterfly on the front of the artwork here. The artwork's very nice on the front, and inside the manual there's lots of nice graphics, like screenshots, which shouldn't come as a surprise, but the graphics on the back of the box are terrible. I mean, they've done this to show the video animation, which, I mean, you can laugh at it if you want, but this was impressive for the time, and for the hardware that we're talking about, this is as good as you're getting, so I'm quite impressed with this. Now, I mean, for me, I'm comparing this game to The Seventh Guest on the PC, which came out at the same time, and my understanding is this was heavily inspired by it. The rumour of the time was that Nintendo paid $1 million to Trilobyte for the license to The Seventh Guest, even though they had no intention of selling it, just so that Sega couldn't buy it. That's what I've heard, and I kind of, as I say, it's quite probable that they made this as a bit of a similar game. And you know, while it's much more limited, both technically and in length of the game, it's a very nice little game. It's very well done. The video's perfectly acceptable considering the limitations of the hardware. Just comparing to The Seventh Guest, The Seventh Guest was 640 by 480, 256 colour. Which was incredible for the day. This is going to be like 320 by 200, or maybe 256. It might be 256. Obviously, it's letterboxed as well, but it's no more than 32 colours. The Genesis Mega CD, uses 16 colour layers, and it has 2 of them. Now, the Mega CD, while it has its own extra hardware, can't directly put data onto the screen. So what it does is it can pre-render data that then the main processor puts onto its layers. So while it can do things in terms of rotation and perspective that the Mega Drive can't do, it can't magically get more colours onto the screen, so you can only get lots of colours by combining layers and sprites and things. That's my understanding anyway. Now, I took a few screenshots from the emulator and did a colour count on them, and it looks like this is using 2 layers for up to, I guess, 31 colours because of the transparent. One colour would be transparent. And as I say, I took a few screenshots and I saw about 24 colours, something of that nature. So I'm guessing it's actually 32. But the screenshots I took was slightly lower than that. It does a pretty certain palette switch though, because different scenes have very different colour palettes. So it'd be pretty certain it's palette switching. The frame rate's not great here, let's be honest, but I mean, you can let it off. I mean, apart from the hardware as well, another thing you need to consider for the era is, I think at this period, just going back to the Seventh Guest, I believe the Seventh Guest was mastered on a 386 that was 50 megahertz, i.e. that's kind of the limit of the hardware you've got to create graphics, let alone view them back. So when the frame rate gets low, it's possible that it's the Mega CD can't do the job any better, but it's also possible that the people making the game couldn't wait any longer for the video to render, so they were limiting their own frame rate. So just something to consider there that you wouldn't think of today, but as I say, we're in the very early days of the of 3D gaming, of any pre-rendered 3D in this case, of course. But I mean, the frame rate, for example, is much faster here, which is why I do wonder whether it's a rendering issue for the early frames. Saying he doesn't remember this mansion, which is all very reminiscent of Seventh Guest, where he wakes up and doesn't remember how he got in the mansion. But as I say, I'm pretty sure it's based on. So here we go. So here's our mansion. This game actually kind of looks better on the real hardware than the emulators, because you've got a kind of blurriness of the analog, and that, you know, smooths all the colours together a little bit better. It does look better. Now, interestingly, on the emulators, one weird problem I had is the game wouldn't play for me. It wouldn't start really or anything. And it seems if you've got like a mouse or maybe some other weird hardware connected to joystick port 2, it confuses the game and the game just doesn't know what to do. It just locks up. So if you're having trouble with the game, that might be something to watch out for. So, as I say, I've got a walkthrough which is telling us what rooms to go for, and basically it's a bit of a treasure hunt that we've got to find objects. So here we've got a diary, and my understanding is the only purpose of the diary is it's a save game. So if I press button A now here, we can select through our items, and if I press C, we can actually use it. So I can select. So I think we press C again to select save game 1. There we go. So we've saved to save game 1 now, and we will do that later because there's a time limit later on, and there's a bit of a gotcha moment where if you walk forward you immediately die, and I made that mistake on the emulator the first time and had to replay a load of the games. So hopefully we won't do that today. So we've got that, and now we need to go to the billiard room, which is upstairs. So, as I say, I think this is all very nice looking. I mean, I've watched a few videos of it being played online, and of course all the comments are making fun of the graphics and saying, oh, why is it so grainy and things. And as I say, you've got to remember, for the time, you know, we're all used to having these amazing video cards now and Blu-rays and things, but they were struggling to, as I say, make the game, as in pre-render it at all, and also that's the wrong way. And they were struggling to get the data off the CD into the video hardware. You know, these are single speed CD drives, so they can't shift much data per frame. And it's not like the Mega CD can do hardware MPEG or anything like that. It's just not got the processing power. So, as I say, they were really under tight constraints on all sides, in that they didn't really have a lot of storage space for video. But they didn't have a lot of processing power. So the butterfly's saying that there's 2 visitors today, the other one being the missing sister. Yeah, this is where they kind of got clever. You know, the Seventh Guest were doing all this rotoscoping and blue screening of live actors over the video, and they neglected to think of the idea of just making all the characters butterflies. It's far easier than hiring professional actors and doing quality video. Okay, so I missed that, but I remember it. The butterfly saying that the sister's decided she wants to turn into a butterfly, which is apparently a thing that does happen in this mansion, but we don't want to. We're not going to go for any of this butterfly fad that apparently goes around.
今のはあんたの妹の声だね。妹に会いたいんだろ。よし。それなら一つ賭けをしようじゃないか。
Okay, each of the butterflies has a different character, and this is the gambler, and she's sort of saying, "Oh well, yeah, we'll have a gamble on whether you can rescue the sister, I guess." Now, there's this weird thing. I think it's giving clues. I'm not quite sure. I mean, it shows this, which is what we need to find next, but I don't quite understand. Do we have to do that, or could we skip it? Anyway, that's what we're looking for, that cabinet. And rather cheekily, it's a different colour, because it looked red there, but it's actually pink. So we now need to go to what's referred to as the red room, which is all the way over here. I do like these pre-rendered games where you've got the walking motion that's kind of out of your control. I was playing the unofficial Seventh Guest 3. Well, it was officially licensed in the end, but it was a sort of fan-made game, and it's a great game. It's very well 3D rendered, but it allows you to move, you true first person, where you can look in all directions, and there's something that is slightly less creepy when you've got total control, I guess. You no longer have the feeling of you're being sort of dragged almost. In this and in Seventh Guest, you say, I want to go over here, and then you have this kind of weird movement where you're just having to watch what's the result of what you just asked for, which, as I say, does give a nice feeling. We can actually look all over the room. There's lots of... Yeah, the butterflies making fun of us. I've never really done it, to be honest. I've only ever played this with the walkthrough. So maybe there's lots of exciting things we could look at if we just go randomly pointing at things and having a look around. But I'm not going to do that just for time reasons. So there we go. So we've got a key there, and now we need to go to the art room, which is, I've forgotten where that is. Where is it? It's on the... Oh, it's on the top floor. It's over here. I don't know why you'd have an art room on the second floor. You'd have thought that would be a ground floor thing. Anyway, so we need to press our A button here and then use this key, and we go in the art room. You can see this rather glitchy colours up there. The colour attributes I use on this camera here are supposed to sort of simulate these kind of games where you're using a very low resolution and limited colour depth. So see how my fake camera and the real one's actually. Okay, so in this one we just look over here, and then we get this quite nice little camera angle where I quite like that. It's quite weird where you suddenly change the camera angle and there's this hidden object we didn't see before. I think that's the helpful butterfly. Most of them aren't very helpful and are actually quite mean to us. So I think that's the friendly one. And now if we go over here, there's this weird painting here with this kind of, I think that's a face there. It looks like a mouth and a pair of boggly eyes. It makes a funny laugh maybe. And if we go here, then we end up in this weird room. Now this is a sort of puzzle thing, and we have to blow out this candle here, and then we end up in the study. And we have butterflies. Is that it? Is that what he's saying? Okay. So we go in here, and we need to first look over here at the book.
閉ざされた部屋の姿形を合わせるべし
Now there's that
闇は
dartboard,
闇に
and
光は光に
I don't think we ever need to play darts. There's no game as such. And then there's that puzzle with the candles, and we need to do that later. But I can't believe you're possibly supposed to be able to see what that shows. Although the candle puzzle and the dartboard are basically the same. I haven't quite got my head around what you're supposed to interpret from that. But anyway, I know how to do both. Okay, so now we've got that, we can find the other key. We go over here. No, I don't want to look at that. That's a boring thing. Maybe this direction. And I don't think we can do this before we've looked at the other one. There's a bit of there's a sequence, you've got to do things, you can't pick up items until the right time in a lot of places.
弁解しておくが隠したのは私ではないよ。そうだね。いたずら好きな妖精の仕業だとでも言っておこうか。いや、まったくこの館にいると退屈しないよ。
That butterfly's denying all knowledge of who hid the key. There's a certain, I'm not sure. I kind of get the impression that it was the butterfly, and the butterfly's kind of being sarcastic when he denies it. Okay, so we actually need to use one of our keys on that. Is it that one? I think, okay. So now we're on the ground floor. Okay. So now I need to go to the new music room, which is this one over here. I think the keys all disappear when we use them anyway. Okay.
あら、坊や、こんなところで何をしているの？
That one's saying? Okay. It is kind of a shame because, as I say, I'm really going to rush through this and we'll probably win the entire game in 30 minutes, but I think if you spent a lot of time and just went around randomly looking at objects and things, you'd get more appreciation of just how well it's done, because like a room like this, it looks very well designed. You know, there's lots of objects in it that we just simply never pay any attention to, and I assume you can actually look at a lot of them to you know, just get a bit more of the ambience of the room. So we now need to mess with this tuning fork. I'm not quite sure why, but we do. There we go. Presumably that did something. Who knows what. Okay. Getting quite a lot of analog distortion today. I was trying the machine yesterday just to check it still worked, and I noticed it was a bit distorted, the video, and I played around with everything, couldn't get it any better, but noticing today it's actually when the game console's doing anything, and it's probably just because the machine's so old, you know, its capacitors are probably all wearing out and things, but I mean, it's not too bad. And as I said earlier, a little bit of analog distortion does help this game a bit, in the sense that it covers up the grain of the game in things, which I think, you know, gives you more of a feel of what it would have looked like. Because, you know, back in the 90s, you know, I was using coaxial cable on an older second-hand TV, so you weren't getting the kind of video, the kind of signal quality you would see on an emulator on your 4K monitor or anything. You just never saw that on real hardware back in the day, unless you were very rich and had some amazing HD TV or something.
ああしろこうしろといちいち言われなきゃ何にもできないのかい?
I missed what that one was nattering on about. Okay, so we need to look at the viewing screen again, apparently. And then we see the dartboard exactly as we saw it before, which is weird because we've now kind of had two dartboard clues, but there's no darts game. You know, it's not like we actually have to change the dartboard or anything. And we get the matches. But as I say, I kind of think... Yeah, I think that dartboard is actually the pattern we're expected to create on the candle puzzle, because we have to turn 2 of them off, the ones down here, and we have to leave or maybe just return one of them back on. I just don't quite understand how you're supposed to know to turn the one back on. It doesn't quite... I can't quite see anything in there that explains it, but anyway, I know what to do, so we'll be okay. Okay. Okay, that's the sister asking where the brother is. Okay. So now we need to go down here. Slowly. Very slowly. They're really enjoying showing off their video there. As I say, the fact that you're often being restrained in how you move and things, I think does give a nice eerie feel to the game. Okay, so we're back in here. This room seems very strange in that it seems to link to things that you'd kind of think it shouldn't. And you'll see what I mean by that in a minute. So we'll just... Okay, so we'll just save there. So now if we go forwards, we go under here, and this is how we end up in the candle room. Okay. So, okay, I've got to wait for the speech to end. Yeah. So, as I say, I think basically we saw a moon on that dartboard, and each candle is represented by one of the darts. And so what we need to do is we need to blow this one out. We need to leave that... Oh, it's already out. Okay, that's fine. And then we need to relight this one with our matches. I'm sure that one was lit last time I tried this. And then we end up... Now I like this. We've got this room, this sort of corridor inside the room, and you'll see that the mechanics aren't working there. There's nothing happening yet, because we'll come here later and there'll be some action. But I love that automaton there, very nice. Okay. Not quite clear what it does though. It's not like there's a giant clock tower or anything that I'm aware of. Okay, we've got this very imposing room, and we've got this bloke here. Oh, okay, we're already at the end of the corridor. Yeah, okay. Now, this is the one that killed me before. So we go in here, into this room with the flowers, and then we go through this door here. Now this is where I screwed up the other time. If you walk forward here, you immediately die, which seems very mean, but if you go this way, where you can't see anything, you get a flower. And that's what we actually need. And now we need to leave this room, as I say, otherwise it'll kill us. So, yeah, felt a little bit... I mean, it felt a little bit of a beginner's trap, but to be fair, if we've got the save games, and the game is very short, so I guess we can overlook that one mean thing. Okay, so we need to select our flower here, put our flower in here. Okay. Nice. Not sure quite why that helps anything, putting flowers in vases, but apparently it does. Now, it's this door, isn't it? and now the water's gone, and now... Okay. Doesn't quite make sense what we do here. So now I'm not pressing anything, it's all fully automatic there. So we take this. Now this is the sister who's been turned into a paperweight, it seems. And I can't quite make out the words here. It's a bit muffled compared to the other ones. Yeah, we just have to listen to this spiel, and again, I'm not doing anything at this point. The camera's moving around like there's some amazing solving of a puzzle going on, but I'm not pressing anything here, so it's not like I'm doing some amazing jumping mechanics. I'm just waiting. I mean, to be fair, just sort of again comparing to the Seventh Guest, the Seventh Guest had very complex puzzles, and part of that was because the video engine they had could do multiple layers, so it could have a transparent layer on top of another layer, and I think in the case of that game they were actually combining many layers of animation, things like the can puzzle where you could swap all of the cans around and things. That was a quite complex puzzle, and this game never has any puzzles of that nature. It's just pick up an object and use it here kind of thing. So again, I think that this game, this version, I think that this is very limited because the hardware was not capable of that kind of advanced combining of bitmap layers or transparent layers and things. But, as I say, it's a nice look. Very impressive to see a game with this kind of feel, and it does do relatively full screen, letterbox full screen video. And looks very nice. So I've got no complaints with it. I'm pleasantly surprised by this, especially considering the Jurassic Park game I played very briefly before, and it does have some nice video in it, but it's very... I haven't played it through, but I've watched a walkthrough video, and the vast majority of the game does not have that kind of video, so it doesn't really represent the full game, whereas this, as I say, while... Okay, now we're on a time limit of all things. Okay, so let's... I'm not sure if the time limit has started yet, but it might have, so let's just save our game here. So now we need to go to the art room. Okay, so we're back here, and as the camera pans around, we'll now see the mechanics are moving, and I guess that represents the time limit. Not sure. Anyway, I don't know, I'd say a nice little touch, and I think good use of the fact that these movement sequences are of course all videos, so they can animate as much stuff as they want. So now just to get out of here, we just blow this candle out again like before, and we'll end up in the study.
待ちたまえ。君の持っているその蝶はまだ赤いんじゃないか。なんてことだ。そのままではせっかくの美しい姿が崩れてしまう。また人間の姿に戻ってしまうぞ。
That's quite. I quite like that one. He says, "Oh, the butterfly you've got, which is the sister, is still red, and that means, unfortunately, it's going to turn back into a human, and that'll be a terrible shame." So I think it's quite amusing. It's like how terrible our sister will not remain a butterfly. Anyway, he did say that the butterfly's red, and I don't know if you saw before, but it was blue or white, but it definitely wasn't red, so a bit of a video compression limitation there. Okay, so we now need to go to the music room, which is this one here, and we need to get the candle. Where is that? I think it's over here.
まだ月の魔法がかかりきっていないのね。今ならまだ間に合うかもしれないわ。ひょっとしたら 人間に戻してあげることができるかもしれない。
Okay, that one seems to be on our side. It's saying that the moon magic hasn't turned the butterfly permanent, the sister permanent into a butterfly yet. Hang on a minute. How do I take the candle? Oh, I've gone in the wrong... Oh dear, I've gone in the wrong order. I needed to go to the art room first. Okay. So yeah, you can't collect the objects you need in the right order, in the wrong order, even if it doesn't make any logical sense. Because, yeah, I need a candle from there, but I don't... There's nothing I'm going to do in the next place that would affect me being unable to get the candle, if you see what I mean. So we need to go up here into the art room. Okay. And we need to get a pocket watch. And I don't quite know what that does. I think maybe it shows us how much time we've got left, but I've never bothered using it. We'll probably see it at one point though.
君、その蝶はどうしたんだい？赤い羽をしているね。まだ青くない。そうか。地下室から取ってきたんだね。その蝶は君の知り合いか何かかい？それを連れてこの館を抜け出すつもりなんだとしたら、これは少し問題だぜ。
So the butterfly is saying that, again, and the thing about, oh well, if the butterfly's red it can still turn back. So we need to go over here, and then, well, rather weird camera angle there, but we get that pocket watch. It looks more like a mirror there, but it is a pocket watch. Anyway. Okay, so now we've got that, we can now go back here. Need to go downstairs and go back to that place. I was trying to pick up the candle, but I was being refused. Okay. Right. So we go down here. It's very slow walking there, so not much urgency to the rescuing of the sister here. I don't know. Taking the time. We go in here. And now, if we go again to the exact same table, this time, oh, look at that candle that was hidden there. So we've now got the candle, and now we go to the study. No, I didn't mean to do that. Press the wrong direction. Anyway, right. Probably running out of time here. I don't know. As I say, we are on a time limit, but I'm not sure how tight it is, if you see what I mean, because the two times I've played this, I've won it, but I haven't made any mistakes in the past. So I'm not sure. I'm not sure if it's one of these time limits where we barely have the time, or if it does expect us to not necessarily know exactly where to go first time. Okay. Now, there is a puzzle that I don't quite understand how we're supposed to know the solution to. There's a numeric one where we have to only go through doors with a 3 on them, or where the number is divisible by 3. And I'm not sure how we're supposed to know that. Okay, so now if we go to this fireplace and we use this candle, we get some creepy music. And we get this weird thing, and then if we bump our head on it, key falls out the roof, which of course is exactly what you'd expect, really. Okay. And then we have to turn around. There's a lot of toing and froing here. Right, so fortunately we don't need to go very far with that key, we just need to go to this cabinet over here. Look at that plant, it's flickering between kind of green and brown. There were a few cases in this game where I can't help feeling that the hardware could have done a lot better, and it was just simply a case of they didn't... I'm sure they had some kind of automated conversion software to convert to the video, but in some cases it feels like there's glitches where, as I say, I'm sure the palette could have extended to a green to make the plant green rather than it changing brown. But I'm sure their priority was just getting the game finished and getting it out there rather than making sure rather than doing any kind of manual optimization of color palettes. Okay, so now we can go back in here, and then we go to the end of the corridor. And then we use that plaque that we just got. This one. So the objects scrolling past there would of course have been hardware sprites, and I say that because they're using the two tile layers for the video, so I guess they're using pretty much all of the resources of the system here. Now I've heard it claimed that some of the games use the hardware sprites as well to increase the colour palette of the video beyond 32 colours. Maybe that Time Gal game does that because it didn't have any object overlaying the video, so I kind of wonder if that was the deal with that. Okay, so now we can see a mirror and we go, oh, that's a mirror. And then we go back here, and then we go downstairs again. Again, a lot of toing and froing here. So we just had to see the mirror. And strangely enough, it's not in the same place next time. Pesky moving mirror, I guess. Okay. So we now go back through here. And now we need to go to the red bedroom, the red pink bedroom. Okay, which is quite a long way away. Go up here. So it's the one over here. Well, my camera's pointing the wrong way. It's the one on the left at the end of the corridor. The house is a lot smaller than the Seventh Guest one, but again, to be fair, the Seventh Guest game had, I'm sure, much better compression, and also that game used 2 CDs. Didn't use the second one very much, but it did use 2. The game dated was it used about 100 megabytes of the second CD. So again, they had more abilities. Yeah, this room's distinctly pink, if you ask me. Okay.
あら、まだ羽が赤いのね。月の魔法が完全にかかりきっていないんだわ。ねえ、その蝶を一体どうしようっていうの？
Yes, more gibber about the colour of wings there. I've heard it all before.
その蝶を人の姿に戻したいっていうのならわかるけど、そのためにはここから出なくちゃいけないし、そんなことできっこないわ。
That butterfly is saying they don't want to leave the mansion. Fair enough, if you want. Okay, and now if we...
たはまだ何かを探しているの？
That was a bit tricky, you know, making me look at the table twice to get the crystal. Okay.
あなた、その水晶をどうする気？それには月の魔法を弾く力があるのよ。下手をすればお屋敷の外に
Yeah, the butterfly's angry with me for taking the crystal because the crystal's gonna break the moon magic or something.
お屋敷の外に出れば
Not quite familiar with how that works. I wasn't aware
気が流れ
crystals and moon magic were a thing. But anyway, apparently they are.
私は嫌。大人になるなんて絶対に嫌だわ。
Yeah, the butterfly's got a Peter Pan complex and doesn't want to be an adult. There we go. Okay, so that's that butterfly's backstory. Now there's a trick here. We can save some time by banging our head on the floor. It's quite funny. Okay, that doesn't look too bad. That looks like the same position on the clock that it did before when I played this on the emulators, when I didn't end up going in the wrong direction for no good reason. Okay, so now if we go here, we should have everything we need now. Okay, we've got to use our candle here. Creepy music. They did a sequel to this game on the Saturn. I mean, some people have incorrectly called it a remake, but the game's very different. The mansion has some places that are the same, but loads of extra rooms and things. But to be honest, I think this game, you know, despite its limitations, is a pretty impressive technical achievement for this system, whereas the sequel didn't really do anything particularly incredible. So room 3 here, we've got to do 3's indivisible by 3 here. So now we want 33, that one. And the next one is 666, but the walkthrough I have claimed it was 777, which confused me the first time, but I guess that's, maybe it was censorship because it was getting blocked by the walkthrough websites or something. But anyway, so yeah, it's 666, and then 345, that one. Okay. And then, sorry, I don't know how you're supposed to know this divisible by 3 thing. I don't know if there was a clue anywhere. And then 12. 12. 12. And then 27 somewhere. That's not 27, that's 1. That's where we came. 27. Okay. And there's our friend the mirror, which seems to have found a new home. So we now use our crystal on the mirror. And we end up outside. That makes some sense, apparently. So, we're back to our naffy frame rate. Now, slightly dubious grass. A nice shot of the mansion there. I think it's supposed to have faded away, but you can never tell if it's not just dodgy compression. Okay. And then building up the suspense. I don't know what these purple flowers are supposed to be about. They, again, dodgy colours as well. They keep flickering on and off there. And there's the butterfly, which, as I say, is supposed to have red wings, but they're yellow there. I don't know why why they chose to claim it was a colour that their video technology wasn't going to achieve. And then the butterfly turns into that, which is apparently, hopefully, what our sister is supposed to look like. It does seem a bit of a limitation that they never actually showed the character at the start of the game, so that you knew that that wasn't some hideously mutated version of the sister that had come back, or something. Anyway, maybe it's like in Pet Sematary, and this is the evil version of the sister. But anyway, that's apparently what she's supposed to look like. So we've got the good ending. She looks like she's only got one leg though. I don't know. But anyway, yep. Again, as I say, it's a nice little game, rather short compared to most games, most games of the period. But again, as I say, for the Sega Genesis, considering that there were no other games that I've seen that really achieved this kind of video. Now, there is a firefighting game which is very good, and that's got some very good video in it. I don't think it's pre-rendered though, so I guess while you can compare it for the video, I don't think it's entirely fair to compare it for the quality of the game overall. Because of this, it's easier to shoot video than to 3D render it in most cases. But I say, this is a very nice little game, and the other thing that surprised me is this only cost me $6. It's very cheap. In fact, I'd kind of not bothered buying it because I assumed it must be rubbish because it was so cheap. But actually, it's one of the best games that I've seen on the system, because I do like this kind of horror and pre-rendered adventure game. So anyway, we do have two other games we're going to play today after this. I thought, being as this is probably the last time I'll do Mega CD live streaming, we'd try two others. So I now have Thunderhawk and Sylphid, I believe that's pronounced. Now, I've not played either of these two before, but I did watch some videos online and see some recommendations, and I think these are going to be two of the other ones that are worth a look at. I think these are the games to try out. So, if we just eject our CD drive here. See, I've got my cameras so you can see that I'm playing on real hardware, not cheating and using emulators and saving myself some money. So we'll try this Sylphid one and we'll see what that's like. I've got no idea what these are like. I'm probably going to be terrible at playing them, but at least we'll get to again see what they were really like on the old machine. While it's nice to see them on emulators, it's very easy and saves some money. It's nice to see them really running on the hardware itself, and to confirm what the actual experience was like. Because as I say, the last one, the graphics look a lot better on a analog capture device than they do on an emulator, which has made things sharper than their graphics really justify. Is it starting? I've not tried either of these, so if the CDs are dead, then we'll just have to cry. Okay. I have no idea if that's real time or pre-rendered. I think this game does have some 3D. Oh my word, that's high frame rate. Now, okay, so the thing with the Mega CD, as I said, the Mega CD hardware can't get graphics directly onto the screen, but what it can do is it can pre-render graphics and then pass them to the main CPU to put directly on the screen. And the Mega CD has a faster CPU than the Sega CD itself, so it's possible that the Mega CD is doing things like real-time 3D rendering, which is what I think this might be, and just using the Mega CD to do the music, the joypad input, and the job of dumping the data onto the screen. I have had a look at the programming documentation, but there's not very much. It's quite limited and a little bit sketchy, so unfortunately don't think I'm going to be able to do any tutorials on how to transfer video from these Mega CD CPU to the main one. It's not got any kind of hardware 3D acceleration. It's got some rotation scaling that can do things like the Mode 7 could on the the Super Famicom, but it doesn't have any kind of true 3D hardware or anything. might have some kind of mathematical accelerator in, like kind of like the Super FX could accelerate some of the mathematics. It wasn't a true 3D rendering chip, but it could cut enough corners so that the Super Nintendo could do 3D graphics. And in the same way, there may be enough, maybe a few mathematical tricks that the Mega CD can do in the same way. Because as I say, I'm pretty sure this is real-time 3D.
Rendezvous with squadrons 279 and 333. Take position for intercept mission.
Speech as well, which again is it's not to be discredited, because again it's a single speed CD drive, so if you were transferring CD quality audio, you'd have no data transfer rate left to do any kind of video. So again, as I say, you've always got to consider the significant limitations that this hardware had when you judge what it's actually presenting. Okay, so we'll go here then. So it looks like we've got some kind of basic 3D. Right, yeah. We've got a globe there which is sort of rotating, which I would guess is this mode 7 layer. The sprite objects, I don't know if they're pre-rendered 3D or real time. I mean, they look 3D, but it could just be a pre-rendered sprite. I'm not sure what that introduction sequence was. Obviously, it was very high frame rate and it looked 3D, but it might have been a pre-rendered RLE encoded video. I can't say for certain, it could be either. If the game doesn't have significant 3D, I would guess that it's pre-rendered. Because if it wasn't, I'd assume they'd take advantage of a 3D render. If they've got a 3D engine that good, I would expect them to make significant use of it, I guess that's what I'm saying. It's kind of, it looks sort of 3D, but it's actually a sort of 2D Space Invaders or Phoenix type game, I guess. But I think they are. It reminds me a bit of this. It's a great animated background. It reminds me a bit of some of these Laserdisc games. There were some Laserdisc games that had very, very exciting 3D backgrounds, but the actual gameplay was all done by a relatively simple CPU and was really just Space Invaders type action. In a lot of cases, even less impressive than this, to be honest, because, as I say, they were literally using a sort of low-end 16-bit or 8-bit even CPU to do the graphics, and the video background was just making the game look more impressive than honestly what it was. So we've got some small 3D rendered objects, and it looks like the background is in some way 3D rendered. We've got this kind of rotating panning shot. Kind of have a feeling it's probably... Oh, we've got a boss battle coming. Again, it looks 3D rendered, but it's so small that it could just be a sprite. Oh, okay, yeah, it's pretty big. Yeah, I think that's going to be real time. What's the game? I'm trying to remember the name of the game now. There's one on the Neo Geo, the name is temporarily escaping me, which had very big 3D graphics, but they were all pre-rendered. Oh, weapon failure, dying. They're doing the Star Fox thing. Yeah. The Neo Geo couldn't do 3D, but it did have the RAM to fake it, so you can't rule out that it's something similar here.
An unmanned Solar Space Force fleet suddenly started to attack the colony.
Blazing Star, that was the one. The Neo Geo game
system,
just like
the central photon
3D.
computer that integrates and controls the whole galaxy network on the mother planet, Earth, was network jacked by an unknown terrorist group. The leader of the terrorists solemnly introduced himself
I kind of think
as
it is
the
real-time
Cartel.
3D, not pre-rendered video.
The survivors of the Galaxy Union
The frame rate's very nice.
assembled all their
question of,
forces to strike at Zacarte.
Is it easier for the Mega CD to do real-time 3D, or is it
Solar
easier
system.
to decompress
After drastic
full-screen video?
restructuring and the addition of reinforcements to the tactical fighter
But anyway,
spacecraft,
very nice job,
the
whatever they've done.
SA-77 Sylphide, their last resort, the remaining fleet began the counterattack. Their destination? The mother planet, Earth.
Okay. I don't know how we change those. I think we've at least fixed our ship because we broke our ship in the last one. Stage 2. Oh, we're loading. Yeah, that's the disadvantage of these CD units. Oh my word! Okay, well that's that's got to be real time. Okay, well at least that's answered that question. That's enormous. Doing very well. Okay, well, this level's a lot more impressive than the last one, I have to say that much. I very much doubt they could do that in any as pre-rendered video. I mean, for one thing, I think the audio is digital, so they'd be streaming that off the CD, so they couldn't stream video, and there's no way to get around to do all this. So very nice graphics indeed. I mean, to be honest, the 32X, which I do own, didn't really manage any 3D of its own, in the sense that this is about as good as the 32X ever managed, and even the Saturn. Fantastic 2D game engine, gaming system, but the 3D it never really. Whereas the PlayStation was very well known for its 3D, such as it was, the Saturn was far more a good 2D system rather than a bad 3D one, if you see what I mean. I'm not a fan of the PlayStation graphics for 3D, so that's not a complaint. That's just an observation.
Game over.
Game over. Okay, well, I didn't play very well, but I'm impressed by that. Impressed indeed. Okay, well, let's just wait for our CD to stop spinning there, and let's try our last game. How long has this been going on? An hour, 11 minutes. That's not so bad. I was sort of expecting the first game to take about 30 minutes, so that's about right. So we're now going to do Thunderhawk, which, again, I did watch a video of it online, but I can't remember anything about it. So let's see what the box looks like. Okay, so it's a 3D rendered helicopter game, I think. Really impressive. We have to get our Mega CD introduction here. Oh dear, hang on a minute. For only use with an NTSC Mega Drive. Hang on a minute, maybe. I had my switches set it wrong. I've modded this with switches at the front, and it was set to English PAL, English NTSC. And so it looks like this game was actually checking that, and I guess the other one wasn't. Okay. That's weird, because the CD unit is regional. You have to make the CD with the right sector to match the hardware. So it's not like this CD would have worked on the other ones. But I've read some of the technical documentation about it in some of the official manuals I've leaked, and they did start to insist that a game that was released could be easily ported to the other systems. So it's possible that only the boot sector is different from the different versions of the game. But as I say, that's interesting that complained, but the other ones didn't, because of course all these are Japanese games. That's very nice, isn't it? Oh, the distortion there because of my crappy video hardware, but never mind. Weird, like a combination of 3D rendering. I think that was video then, and then we had that kind of cartoon sequence. Yeah. Very nice little video there. Okay. Okay, well, let's see if the game's any good. The introduction video is very nice. New game. You saw load game there, of course, because the Mega CD has its own built-in save RAM. So when it's talking about saving and loading and things, it really means it. It's weird. I don't know how it backs it up because it's not battery backed up. It's not. To my knowledge, there's no battery in there. Whereas the Saturn does have a battery, so I don't know how it retains its memory. So I guess they're using the scaling layer on the background there, and the foreground is the other layer, which is just a static shot there. Okay. Yeah, that's smooth. Very nice, very impressive. I say I kind of feel that's got to be real-time 3D because I don't think they could decode video that fast and do it any better, if you see what I mean. Okay, there we go. So I've got. I can select gun, missile, or rockets with that one. So we got the kind of Mario Kart style graphics here. Very nice Mode 7 type effect. As I say, the Mega CD does have hardware to do that kind of thing. What's the difference between missiles and rockets? Am I missing something? I don't think I can go up and down. Yeah, I'd like to fly higher or something, but I don't.
Bank right, you're off course.
Oh yeah, I'm off course.
Bank left, you're off course. Bank left, you're off course. Incoming bandit. Bank right, you're off course.
Okay, am I aiming for that red thing on the chart there?
Incoming missile.
I have no idea what's going on. I mean, the graphics are very nice. The only thing it's leaving me curious is that 3D rendered? What is it? That looks like a static sprite to me. That doesn't look 3D. But the video at the start looked 3D, and again, it's a question of, is it a pre-rendered video or is it real-time 3D? Because this is all using the new scaling and rotating layer. So this isn't really software 3D or anything.
Bank right, you're off course. Bank right, you're off course.
Of course, I'm shooting trees.
Bank left, you're off course. Get out of here! Get out of here!
Oh dear. I'm
Incoming
not playing
missile.
ball. I need to read the manual. I don't know if I've got kind of ECM or anything that I can use to stop all these missiles. I've run out of missiles. Shoot these tanks.
Incoming bandit.
Yeah, as I say, those are 2D. They aren't really 3D.
Bank left. You're off course.
Oh dear. Something bad's happening. Oh, blew up. That was a video. Okay. Well, anyway, looks an interesting game there. I'm going to watch these online on YouTube again and see what they look like to try and make more of a judgment on how they're actually using the hardware and what's pre-rendered and what is actually real-time calculated, because of course I'm quite interested in that from a technical point of view. Now these the 68,000 processor that's in the Genesis and in the Mega CD, the Mega CD one is about 12 megahertz, whereas the main one is about 8. Now 12 megahertz is enough to do 3D. It can do it because the Amiga would do 3D in games like Robocop 3 and things. So it is within the capability, but it's still relatively low. It's still an impressive feat, let's put it that way. Whereas when you get into the sort of 50, 60 megahertz, then it's not really much of a challenge anymore. So as I say, it's just interesting to wonder. Anyway. Okay, so that's all the gaming I'm going to be doing today. I hope you found this interesting. As I said before, if you're interested in assembly programming, please look on Amazon and take a look at my book. It's now available for sale. The print copy is available now. It's around $20. It should be less. It depends on your territory. The Kindle version is going to be around $10, and that's still waiting approval, but it should go through fine because it's the same content. And it should be available in all territories, so if you go onto your local Amazon and if you just search for Chibi Akumas, I'm going to be the only thing that comes up. So if that sounds interesting to you, take a look. As I say, it's a programming book, Z806502, 68,086 ARM, 270 pages, and hopefully you might find it interesting. But anyway, I hope you've enjoyed watching today. I hope you found seeing all of these weird systems, these weird games, a bit interesting, and I hope you've had some very fun with it. Maybe if you liked what you saw, go and have a look and try and find the games on emulators, or maybe if you can buy the hardware and get them, give them a go. But I say these games are definitely worth a look because they're nicely done, and I've had some fun playing them today, so maybe you'll enjoy them as well. Anyway, thanks for watching.